What is up, my Deuterinos? So this is Mystery School back again with another quick video. So I was looking on the 4chans, the 4chins, looking at the R9 keyboard, and I found this post. It's one I've seen passed around a little bit, but it's been a while since I've seen this particular Facebook post posted around. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read this one off here. It says men aren't dying young at high enough rates. Not all men get laid historically, traditionally, anything. Genetics show bottlenecks in male reproduction because men basically had harems, and little men, I'm not sure how that, and little dot men were always pawns and cannon fodder. This is true. They didn't get a chance to fester in their bitterness. They died. They were places for incels like religious positions, and that's gone now. The natural balance is off. Too many low-quality men aren't able to live, produce nothing, and blame everyone else for their inferiority. Mi piace rispondi. So either this is some sort of like Spanish, I have no fucking clue what the fuck it says, but yeah. Got a few likes, got a heart. Yeah. Either way, this was a woman that said this. And some parts of this are true, some parts of it are false, but this is a pretty good black pill here. This is a very at least halfway true black pill. For example, this part here about bottlenecks in male reproduction, basically men basically had harems and little men were always pawns and cannon fodder. Like this is actually true. Like this has been a known fact around red pill and black pill circles for a few years now about the whole historical fact that the majority of men did not breed, and a small minority of men, you have more female ancestors than male ancestors, which tells us that women have been doing this hypergamy thing for longer than we've either realized, or maybe we all knew it, but we had ways to get around it, like marriage and monogamy and stuff like that, to get around this fact. But even now, we're starting to find out that a lot of men are getting cucked. A lot of men are now finding out via 23andMe that, oh shit, my dad's not really my dad, or some weird shit like that, or my dad's actually my fucking dad's best friend, stuff like that. It's very pervasive throughout all of It's not pervasive, but we're finding out more and more that the angels that we thought women were, it's just not true. So this is just one fact that's pretty it's pretty well known in Blackpool circles. We're always pawns and cannon fodder. Like this is also true. You know, I'm not saying this is the primary cause, but it's pretty well known that if you have too many men, you have a lot of problems. Like having a lot of men historically, like look at places like Iraq. And it's not so much having a lot of men; it's having a lot of men who aren't doing anything. A lot of men who are economically displaced, who can't get jobs, who can't get meaningful work, not just work but meaningful work. They can't find girlfriends. They can't, and because they can't find work, they can't get wives. Then you have men who are just genetically garbage, and because of that, well, they're already kind of taken out of the sexual marketplace. If they can't beta buff max via wages, well, then they have nothing. So like, you have men who can't get jobs, and when you have a lot of men who can't get jobs, well, they become a drain on society effectively. It's a black pill, but it's tough to say, but it's true to some extent. You know, when you have too many in, you have a lot of problems. Like if you look at places like India and China, like India is like ground zero for like, it's like, I believe it's like the rape capital of the world. It's like because they have so many men and not enough women. In China, it's the same way. Now China's kind of self-inflicted, but in a way, yeah, they have too many men, not enough women. Now, what keeps China and India from becoming, um, I guess, becoming like dystopian hellscapes, like with men just like saying "fuck it, we're gonna take over the fucking the country"? It's the fact that like these men, Asian men especially, are extremely effeminate. They aren't nearly as you know, not nearly as dangerous as black or white men are. It's just true. So these men are less likely to rebel, and the ones that do rebel, well, they're pretty easy to squell too. So, when resources become more scarce, weaker men fall through the cracks. When the economy starts getting more tight, when competition gets extremely tight, the men who can't keep up fall through the cracks. These men become the problems of society, as we would say. So I'm going to bring up the cannon fodder now. It's like during these times, a war would occur to effectively shake out the weak hands. Once again, I'm not saying this is the primary cause of war, but it's everything that comes from an excess of people becoming a dream society, and somehow you need to find a way to feed these people, keep people happy. When there's too many people consuming too many goods, like what are you gonna do? Because rather too many people consuming too few goods, what are you gonna do to you can either increase the amount of goods or reduce the amount of people. And because women are just more valuable because they have the womb, okay, well we can make more people. But men, once again, this is a black pill, but it's one that's pretty well known that men are expendable. This has been known. This has been said before. So I'm not saying anything that's like, oh, so like awe-inspiring here, but it's just true. So when once resources become scarce, people they want someone to blame. Effectively the game is you have too many unwed men causing problems. And it's not just unwed men, rather, that's the problem. It's more like too many unwed, too many unproductive, too many men who just fall through the cracks. Keep in mind, not by their own fault. Like the system has effectively failed these men. That's just true. But at the end of the day, like society's like, well, I don't want to have to fucking pay for this or deal with this at all. So too many unwed, too many unproductive. Insert any word that you want to put there for something that society does not want. Too many unwed men causing problems. They're a drain on resources. A drain on resources leads to political upheaval. You blame problems on X group. So you find a group of people outside of your country that you can blame your problems on. Okay, well it's China's fault, it's India's fault, it's Iran's fault. Blame them. Like they stole this from us, they stole that from, they stole this land from us, and if we had those resources, we could feed you all. Okay, so we're gonna blame our problems on X group, quote unquote. Go to war with X group using useless, unproductive men. It doesn't mean that you're not going to send some of your best out there too, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want to win the war. But starting off though, you're going to try to effectively, in the stock market, you call it shaking out the weak hands. You shake out the weak hands. Okay, like who are the weak ones we can shake out here real quick? Like let's just throw them on the front line, come up with a bullshit reason, because these men are already desperate anyway, and we're gonna give them a bullshit reason to go fight a dumb war, to go die for something stupid. Okay, so you go to war with X group using useless, unproductive men, using a dumb cause like God, guns, or glory, or God and glory. Those have been the two big motivating factors in society: God and glory. So one of those two works. Give them gold, God, gold, or glory. One of those two, or one of those three, rather. I'm sorry. Gold is really important. If you win, you get more resources, and the men get waifus. They get the girls. Okay, fine. So you get to take their women now, which is a resource, and those men are happy now. Okay, you fix your problem. And on top of that, you've also killed off a bunch of men too, which fixes your problem anyway. But if you lose, you still win effectively by getting rid of excess men. So like even if you lose the war, as long as you don't overextend yourself in that war, you always win. Okay? If you lose, okay, well I've gotten rid of X number of men who are causing problems in my society. And at this point here now, like this is the sad part. You now get to sit in a state of perpetual warfare. So effectively, what you can say is that if I'm Britain and I'm France, okay, well, we're gonna have a constant war now, where I throw my pawns at you, and you throw your pawns at me, and I'm trying to just get rid of these men now. So once I get rid of the weak men, okay, well I'm gonna start throwing let's start throwing the bad, like the really really bad chads. Okay, like men who are cr- criminals or just people like political undesirables who haven't done anything wrong yet. But you know what? I kind of want to get rid of this guy. He's competition for me, so I'm gonna send him off to war. As an assignment, and hopefully he dies in war. Like this has been done for centuries. Okay, I'm gonna send this guy off to war. He'll go die. I'll send you off to war. You'll go die. Yeah, we're trying to get rid of problems in our societies. We're going to use this war as an excuse to do so. Once again, as long as you don't overextend yourself, you always win. If you lose, sign some bullshit treaty and move on. And then let's go down here now. So they don't get a chance to fester. Well, this is just true. If they're dead, they don't fester. There were places for incels, like religious positions. I believe Isaac Newton. I'm not sure if he was like an incel or not. I've heard too many conflicting things about this guy, but like at the end of the day, that dude didn't have any kids. Like maybe he got some pussy, but he didn't have any kids. But a lot of these low tier men used to like become like fucking monks. And this is kind of what we're seeing now with the resurgence of the MGTOW monk idea of like, okay, well if you can't get pussy, just become a monk and go fucking MGTOW and figure it out. Okay, that can work. But those are effectively gone now. Like the more traditional ones, like becoming a priest in the Catholic Church, men don't want to do that because like atheism kind of like took over and it killed off the idea of like men becoming those things. So, atheists kind of like have taken over effectively, or like at least becoming more a secularism has taken over the mind space of a lot of men. And because of that, well, okay, well they're no longer interested in going to like the Catholic Church or the fucking the Muslim fucking mosque to become the imam or to becoming the new a, a theologian to become the new one of those guys. So yeah, the natural balance is off. Too many low quality men are unable to live, produce nothing, blame everyone else for their inferiority. This is the only problem I have with this really at the end part here. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's looking for someone else to blame. You know, one thing I've noticed about people is that people will take when they do good things, when they succeed, they will take all the glory. When they fail, they will find any excuse in the book, blaming circumstances and everything else to excuse it. Everybody at the end of the day wants privatized gains and socialized losses. This is just true. Nobody wants to take the blame for shit. So it wasn't my fault that it failed. No, no, no. It was all their fault. No, it's not my fault I failed. No, it's not that. But when you fucking do great, when you succeed, oh my god, I'm the greatest fucking man of all time. It's fine, I guess. But that's not the reality. And at the end of the day, these men can blame other people for their mistakes, as can everybody else. But the only problem, the greatest sin with that though, that when these people succeed though, they're unwilling to give people the right respect for when they do succeed. So okay, I'm gonna keep reading my little spiel here. Now, once again, in places like this can work. Like you can have a society with too many men, but you have to emasculate the men. This is what we're seeing happening right now with feminism and this transgenderism stuff and all these weird sort of like becoming gay movements. Like there's a lot of like R9K board stuff about like there's a lot of trannies like trying to like feed off these men and get into these men's head and make them convince that they're trans. There's a lot of gay people in there trying to convince incels that they're just gay. Everybody's trying to like eat up at the black pill at these low tier incel men. And this is what happens. They're trying to emasculate you. They're trying to make you more feminine because if you're more feminine, you're easier to control. So once again, now this can work in the long run if you emasculate your men. See China, Japan, India. These places have men who are not exactly the most like top tier of physical men when it comes to like being masculine. But at the end of the day, when you emasculate your men, you end up with a society where the women won't fuck the men. So you still end up with the same problem of like you're below. I think replacements like 2 point something per woman. So if you're below that, you're not replacing your losses. The only way to fix that is via immigration, which most countries don't actually want to do, but they're forced to do it now because they have to shore up these big huge pension programs, Social Security, all this stuff like that. They have to shore these programs up, and the only way to do it, if your people aren't having kids, well, you have to fucking bring new people in. So the problem doesn't really go away, but you do quell rebellion by having men who are more emasculated. You put crap into the water, do what you got to do to keep the fucking game going. As long as they aren't chopping your head off, you're good to fucking go. And then I'm gonna read this last thing here. We're gonna end this video. So, you know, monogamy, for a given value of the word, is a piece of cultural technology that gives every male in a civilization a stake in the future. Africa and the Middle East will always be shitholes in part because 75% of the male population is shut out from having a genetic legacy. You either get to fuck goats, sit around doing nothing all day, or go to war. The local warlord or imam has to eliminate the competition. The inverse is also true. Female hypergamy has the same uh, dysgenic effect. At the end of the day, when we wage wars caused by problems of having excess people, we're trying to shake out the weak hands, trying to shake out the weak ones. And once again, this is a giga black pill. Like if this is gonna be a hard one to swallow, but like at the end of the day, like when it's you or them, they're gonna pick themselves, not you. Oh shit. All right. Well, this has been Mystery School. Please like, share, subscribe. Go commit suicide over this shit. Um, Next long form video out in a few days, I guess. See you guys later.